Almost 5 months after the takeover by the Taliban, Afghanistan is hanging by a thread, said UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres. He called for countries to suspend rules and conditions that constrict both the Afghan economy and life-saving assistance. In an address to the UN Security Council, the UN chief also stressed that for Afghans, daily life has become a frozen hell.
As a matter of moral responsibility and regional and global security and prosperity, we cannot abandon the people of Afghanistan. They need peace, they need hope, they need help, and they need it now.
The UN chief also called for the release of $1.2 billion from a World Bank-administered Afghan Reconstruction Trust Fund to help Afghanistan's people survive the winter. The call comes as the US and its allies have already cut off Afghanistan's access to international aid and froze roughly $10 billion in assets belonging to the country's central bank. In Afghanistan, the UN officials urged the Taliban to promote security, make efforts for building an inclusive government, and initiate an intra-Afghan dialogue as a way to get out of the current crisis.
How can the Taliban demonstrate a clearer commitment to the path of governing based on trust rather than on fear, if that is indeed the path they choose to take? First, it is past time for them to initiate a wider dialogue on the process for national reconciliation. The international community would, of course, support such a process, but it must be initiated and entirely shaped by Afghans within and outside the country.
The Taliban said they need the blockade assets to be freed to cope with the problems that the Afghans are grappling with.
We praise the UN Secretary-General's call for international aid to Afghanistan, but we also need our frozen assets to be freed. Most importantly, the world should put the excuses aside and recognize our government. We are abiding by our commitments we made for our people and the world.
UN aid agencies have described Afghanistan's situation as one of the world's most rapidly growing humanitarian crises. According to the UN Humanitarian Coordination Office, half the population is now battling acute hunger, and over 9 million people have been displaced. Apart from political issues, people in Afghanistan are also struggling with poverty and hunger crisis. More and more Afghans are calling on the Taliban and the international community for life-saving assistance so that they can survive this harsh winter. Reporting for Press TV, Rahmatullah Baghban, Kabul.